Today we're finishing up Mishnah Aleph, and I stress that because it is part of Mishnah Aleph. Today's piece is part of Mishnah Aleph, and I think it's crucial to mention that because I don't think you can understand the rest of the Mishnah on its own. It's not a Mishnah by itself. It is very, very much linked to what we said yesterday, to the previous words of Ben Zoyma. It's all one statement. We have to do that, otherwise I don't think you can read this Rabbeinu Yonah. It's a very, very hard Rabbeinu Yonah. I struggled with it immensely. And we could talk for an hour today. Be'emes. This is like a big sugya, the sugya of kavod. And I'm going to try to be makatzer as much as I can in order to just get a good laning shot over here. Continues the Mishnah. Ezu mechuber mechaber sabriya shenemar ki mechabdai achabedu boizai yekolu. First things first, we have to understand what the word kavod means. And we have to know also that the Mishnah is not trying to give us eitzes. I think that was very clear from the first three statements of Ben Zoyma. We are not giving you an eitzah, how to be, meaning, when you first learn the Mishnah, chacham, if I tell you the word chacham, you think, oh, an intelligent person, a brilliant man, somebody who's an analytical mind, very brilliant person. And the Mishnah is telling you, you want to be that brilliant guy, you have to be loimed mikol adam. No, that is not pshat in the Mishnah. This person is not a brilliant person. He's not. He's not a gifted mind. He's not an analytical mind. He's not that. And the Mishnah is not giving you an eitzah how to be that guy. With a chiddush from the Torah, be loimed mikol adam. I don't think that that's pshat in the Mishnah. Same thing is true with Gibor. No, you think Gibor is a strong guy, you know what I'm saying, the strongest guy in the gym and stuff like that. You want to be that strong guy, you be kovish es yitzray. No. A kovish es yitzray is a ultra, tzaddik, godelador who, can't lift a 5-pound dumbbell, okay? And he's a kovish es yitzray, okay? The same thing with an usher. It's not an eitzah like we said, let's say, by Meiser. An eitzah had to become rich. You give Meiser. This is not an eitzah how to become an usher. The Mishnah is telling you that this guy, this poor man, what looks like a poor man, lives in a humble abode and just, whatever, he's really rich because he's samech bechelko. I think everybody agrees that that's right. The Mishnah here, the next statement of Ben Zoyma is not any different. It's not telling you, oh, you want kavod, you want to sit in the front, you want this, you want to be a rav, you want to be that. So then be mechaber other people, and then mamela, one day, you'll be that guy sitting at the head of the table and whatever, and stuff like this. This is not the pshat. We're not giving you an eight to how to be. It's telling you what is the taich of kavod, what is a mechubon, okay? And it's hard to understand this whole concept of mechaber sabriyas. But I wanna just import one thing which I think you could also say in Rabbeinu Yonah. Lemaisa the Welt, not the Welt. We're learning Hachsek now, and today's piece starts from Ezu mechuber mechaber sabriyas, and everybody starts from the bold Ezu mechuber mechaber sabriyas, and mechaber chaveroi, v'chulu. Yeah, but Lemaisa at the end of the last piece it says v'oid hoysev ben zoyma mida reviyis ve'omar. It means that this concept is not a separate thing. It is a hoysafa to what we said before. And I will import the words of the Rav. The Rav says something very, very important here, and I think it's crucial for us to understand this Mishnah. Says the Rav as follows: Ezeu mechubed lefi sheshloisha dvarim toivim halalu shenizkaru le'el. Shehem hachachma v'agvur v'oisher hazoicha behem hu nichbad me'atzmoi be'enei Elokim v'odom. A person who is zoicha to those three things, chachma, gvura, and oisher, emes chachma, emes gvura, emes oisher, he is nichbad me'atzmoi be'enei Elokim v'odom. He was the one who was truly zoicha to the emes kavod. And now we have to understand the taich of what kavod means. Kavod does not mean honor and stuff like this, all these fancy American words, English words. Kavod means, kaf veiz dalid, means heavy. Heavy. Takes up space. A davar chashuv. This man became a davar chefza shel chashivus because he was mishalal himself in these three great things. He became a chefza. He became a davar mechubed. Be'ein Elokim. And now, right? Ve'af im abriyas, right? Lo yichabdu ba'avuram. Even if the briyas don't give him, kavod, or which is really be'etzim kavod amaduma, but he is a heavy person. He's a person that is very chashuv. Okay. What is it? How does he get ki'ilu the kavod me'acherim? Which is also hard for me to read, but I wanna we'll go with it. But I don't like the fact that it's like a eitzah azah. We're not looking for eitzahs how to get that kavod amaduma. I want to, possibly suggest, but that's not what the Rishonim say. So, I could suggest from today till tomorrow. They're saying, how do you get this kavod from other people? You have the respect, kaviyachol, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from yourself. How do you get the respect from other people? That's how they're learning, is that you're mechaberes abriyas. I wanted to learn possibly a little bit differently, and to say, what is the siman that you are be'etzem this mechubed, that you've reached these milas of chachma, gvura, and oisher, the fact that you're mechaberes acherim. When you no longer look for kavod, that means that you're full of kavod. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm full of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not looking for it. That's how I am understanding this. I want to go with that pshat. I think you could maybe say that's what they mean, but right, simple translation. Mayasev yeh mechubad. How are you going to be mechubad from other people? How are they going to give you kavod? Yechaberes abriyas. Meaning, if you want people to realize that you, maybe we could say pshat like this. If you want people to realize that you were koine these three midas, show people that you don't need their kavod. Fakir, be mechabed other people. This guy is a chashuv guy. That's what they mean. Pshat is, you want to show that you are be'etzem mechubed, you were koine these three midas. Stop looking for kavod. There's no reason to look for kavod. There is mamish no reason. You are mechubed. You are mechubed. Kol zman that you haven't educated yourself, you haven't, realized yourself that you are, b'mayis halal adam, right? Kiim bezois, leidao, you see, right? This is your hilul. You are mechubed. So there's no reason to look for kavod. And then people are going to be like, wow, this guy is heavy. This guy has weight. This guy has something in him. Okay, so we have to import this. And I think that's what the Rabbeinu Yonah is meramis to. This is all ben zoyma. It's an offshoot of these three things. Person who's mechuben is a person who is koine these three things. Somebody's not looking for kavod anymore. Oh, wow, this guy is a very interesting fellow. This guy's a very interesting fellow. He's a chacham. He's a usher. He's a gibor. He's a gibor. And now we're going to try to lane the Rabbeinu Yonah. I think we could try to make sense out of this. Okay. Hamachaberes chaveira, says the Rabbeinu Yonah. Le'atzmoi hu oisoi kavod v'lo lechaveira. When you give kavod to somebody else, it's really your kavod. It's really a mirror of your own personal growth, your own kavod. So he analyzes this. How do we see this? What really does a person get from getting kavod? So now you and I think, what do you mean? When I get kavod, that gives me kavod, right? What kind of a stupid question is that? When you put me in the mizrach, or when you ask me to speak in public, you're giving me kavod. You're giving me kavod. That's what I need. That's what I want. I want that kavod. And I'm not embarrassed to say that I want that kavod. Okay, Revolva, when he speaks about kavod, a fascinating essay. He says from the altar from Slobodka, you take a person's kavod away, the guy will die. If it was possible to take away a person's all of his kavod, like really every bit of kavod that could be shaykh to a person in this Welt, if you had a way of relinquishing a person from all of his kavod, he would die instantly. Instantly. A person needs kavod. There's no question about it. Needs kavod. Right? So what kind of a question is this? Matei elis leish ki yasu lekavod? What do you mean? You're giving him kavod. So here's the riddle over here. Here's the answer to the riddle. Kavod means weight. And the way you build this weight is a real thing, And you have to do it, by being koine these chashav amidas. Because when you just give kavod amaduma, you just give somebody respect and do this, it's not going to do anything. Not for the giver and not for the receiver either. He explains as follows. When you give kavod to somebody else, what is the tail? If the guy is be'etzem a nichbad, and the nichbad is with that rav, with the rav we just said, a person who's be'emes a nichbad, he is a person who is a heavy person, who worked on himself, and he's a true chacham, he's a true osher, a true gibor, yeah? He's a real nichbad. This kavod amaduma that you're giving him is not giving him anything. It's not giving him anything. He has everything already. He is a mechubed. He is a mechubed. So you giving him kavod is not getting you anything. Is not giving him anything. Right? And if he is a kal, if he's a person like, us, right? Or like me, okay? Who is not a person who's shalom b'midoisav, and he's not a true chacham, and not a true usher, not a true gibor. And he's yearning for kavod because every person yearns for kavod. And you're giving him that kavod. He's a nikle. Nikle is the lashon kal, the opposite of kavod, something who's featherweight, doesn't have real weight. He's nikle. He'll take it for himself. He'll take it for himself. He's not going to give it back to anybody. He's going to take it for himself, and he's going to think that he's really mechuber, but really, he's just a cheap rock, which the Rebbeinu Yonah is going to talk about in a second. You can dress up this cheap rock in argamon, in fancy, cloth, silk cloth, purple, beautiful silk cloth. It's still a cheap rock. It's nothing special. So he thinks it's special, but it's really fake. It's mamish fake news. Because he needs it for himself. And the people who are the ones that are giving him this kavod, cherpo bizoyan. It's a bizoyan. What are you putting this beautiful purple silk cloak or cloth on this rock? Are you crazy? Dress it up in a diamond. Dress up a diamond in this beautiful cloth. Now you have a beautiful cloth and a beautiful diamond. You're putting a rock in there? What are you thinking? It's still a rock. You're going to put this fancy cloth on it. It's still a dirty rock from the dirt, from the ground. Now you can read this pasuk hafla of a fella according to the Ibn Ezra. When you take a cheap rock and you cover it in a margema, in argamon, that's the same thing as giving a ksil kavod. Because kavod is like this argamon, this beautiful thing. And you're putting it on a piece of dirt, on a cheap rock. It's not doing anything. Somebody who covers this rock with beautiful cloth argamon, he's doing a stupid thing. It's not giving the Evan any kavod. It's still an Evan. It's still a rock. It's not doing anything for the Evan. It's not giving him any kavod. Okay? It's a shtus for the machabed. You're not getting anything from it. All you did was dress up a rock in a fancy cloth. So we see from here, what a person does for the brias, right? If they're really mechubed, so then you get that kavod, and you're like, wow, you dressed up this diamond in such a nice, pretty thing. You just made this diamond even prettier. So the kavod goes back to you. But if you dressed up a rock and a thing, it's like, dude, we all know it's a rock. You're not doing anything. Not only that, you wasted a piece of good garment. You wasted a piece of good garment. Yeah, you wasted a piece of good garment. So it's all going back to you. That's how he's learning. Okay, fine. Shegarim lahem kibal korchem yichabduhu. La'atzmahu oisa shegarim lahem kibal korchem yichabduhu. It's a game. You give me kavod, I give it back to you. Umiteres achiyuv. Shehu kavod amiti v'alzen nemar ezu mechuber mechaberes abrias. That's what it means. Ezu mechuber mechaberes abrias. So this last part also, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what it's a chiyuv and it's going back. Maybe I haven't wrapped my brain around that part, fully yet. But the point is that Ezel Mechubed, who is a person that really has internal kavod, real kavod, like real oisher, real chachma, and real gvura, is a person that steigt in these three midas. A person who's a chacham, he's a gibor, and he's a osher be'emes, he's mechubed. He's not looking for kavod from anybody else. So he gives it to other people. So now I know, a siman ledover, this is a guy who steigt in those three things. This is a real chacham, a real gibor, a real this one. So he's giving it to other people. And Rabbeinu Yoina was more like just saying, technically speaking, you see when you give kavod to somebody, there's really no te'elis to that other person, because it's kavod amaduma. Kavod means heavy, means work, means steiging. And a person is steiging, doesn't need fake kavod. So Mele, he always giving the kavod, and he is a mirror image to the great midas that he was kind on himself. So then Mele, everybody wants to give him kavod. And he finishes up with the pasuk, and here again you see now a pasuk in Nach, which puts the two words together, kavod and kal. So he says, Ki mechabdai achabed. The Rebbe Shem says about himself, those who give me kavod, I give kavod back to them. Uboizai, people who are mevazami, ye kolu, they will become kal, the opposite of kavod. They'll become not, important people. Not, they'll be featherweights. Yeah. Re'ayas hapasuk hazeh mikal v'chomer. Im HaKadosh Baruch Hu shekol briyosav lo nivra l'chvoidai, shenemar l'chvoidai b'rasiv, ve'in chavim b'chvoid v'lo haya bedin lahachzik lehem toiva, ki lo nivra l'davar acher. Yeah, shkayach, he did such a great thing for Hashem. This was, the point you were born. They don't have any reshus to do anything else. The Rebbe Shem says, even though this was your tafkid in life, I will give you kavod because you gave me kavod, because it goes back. Nobody's mechuyev to mechabed somebody else, except for kibbud avim. By the way, except for kibbud avim, you are mechubed. You are mechuyev to give kavod to kibbud avim, kavod rav. Im yaseh lehem kavod ki yichabduhu ve'al kapayim yisauhu. They will be mechabed you, and they will carry you on their shoulders. V'gam b'zoi samida ein bo toirach v'hino mukubeles. This also is a midah which has no toirach. Why? Because it's not a kum v'aseh, it's a pol yaitze. It's a pol yaitze. It's only a toirach when you are, trying to look for kavod yourself. So then you're like bending over backwards, like the etzem, I want the kavod, but I want the emes of kavod, so I'm gonna be mechabed other people. So that's hard work, because you have to control yourself. He says over here, there's no tayrach over here. There's no tayrach over here, because we're talking about a real person. We're talking about a person that has the emes of kavod, gave himself the emes of kavod. He has kavod in himself. He has kavod b'einei Hashem. So then, of course, giving kavod to other people is very easy, because I have the kavod already. I'm healthy. I'm alive. And I'm proud of myself, and I'm a real chacham, I'm a real gibor, I'm a real usher. So it's very easy to give other people kavod, because you're not looking for the kavod. But calls one that we're looking for the kavod, Rabbi say, our problem is not kavod. Our problem is the first three things, that we're not really a chacham, and we're not really a gibor, and we're not really an usher. When we become shalom in those three things, then this will be simply beloy toirach, and it's just a poli yaitze. I hope we did justice to the Rabbeinu Yoina. There is so much more to talk about, really, really so much more to talk about. But we're gonna keep it at that. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem.